Hello, my loves. I'm Karyn Brinkley from Women Leading Women Australia, and I'm here with a brief message about emotions, and specifically about not holding on to the emotions that hurt us. Emotions like frustration, anger, resentment, guilt, fear. Now, in my coaching programs, we call these uncomfortable emotions rather than negative or bad emotions, because all emotions are valuable. They tell us something about how we are or how the world is around us. So even the most uncomfortable emotions are there with a purpose for us. They come to us to be used in a way that helps us bring about positive change. The thing about uncomfortable emotions, though, is that just like physical pain, they are there to tell us something so we can respond. They are not there for us to wallow in. If you think about physical pain, and an obvious example is holding your hand on a hot stove, you don't linger there, do you? You feel the heat and you remove your hand. Or you might stub your toe and your foot instinctively rebounds from whatever it's collided with. That's a really normal instinctual response of your brain and your body in combination. You feel the pain, you instantly recognize what's caused it, and you remove yourself from further danger. We can take that same approach with emotional pain, with those uncomfortable emotions, resentment, fear, anger, guilt, frustration. Because just as it will cause you serious and potentially long-term trouble to hold your hand in place on that hot stove, you could cause yourself serious and potentially long-term trouble by holding yourself in those uncomfortable emotions that cause you pain. So it's important to move away from those quickly too. Now note, I'm not saying escape the emotions or ignore them or dismiss the emotions. I'm talking about registering them, but not allowing ourselves to stay in them. We can note them quickly in the moment, name them, and then act to remove ourselves from further danger. How do we do that? Well, it might take a little practice, but the first step is to notice what you're feeling and try and name that emotion. That's not always easy because in our culture, we have learned it's not always safe. And particularly, this is some women's experience. It might not be safe to even feel uncomfortable emotions, let alone acknowledge them and name them. But it is the key first step, because once you've acknowledged and named that emotion, you can work out what's caused it. And so, for example, resentment most often comes from envy. When you look at somebody else's life and you wish your life was more like theirs, you can move pretty quickly from envying them to resenting them. Now, both of these emotions are useful signals that something in your world is not the way that you want it to be. But you don't want to wallow in either of them. You don't want to live there. I love the saying attributed to Nelson Mandela: resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. You have to let that shit go. Other uncomfortable emotions, anger tells you somebody's crossed a boundary that's important to you. Guilt tells you you've crossed your own boundary. You've acted in a way that's counter to a value that's important to you. Frustration is a specific type of anger that comes when we don't get the reward or the result that we were expecting, and we see that situation as unfair or outside of our control, and so we get frustrated with our lack of control over that. And fear, of course, is one of our oldest survival strategies. It's a fundamental reaction to protect us from perceived threat. Now, while our worlds have moved on from saber-toothed tigers, our fear response has hardly changed at all in the millennia. So we can find ourselves overreacting to situations that really aren't going to kill us. And so when you're in a moment of heightened, uncomfortable emotion, it's important to acknowledge that you're feeling that emotion, to name that emotion so you can work out what's causing it. And then you can work out what to do about it. But just as you wouldn't deliberately leave your hand on a hot stove, it's really important you don't stay stuck in an uncomfortable emotion. Work out why you're feeling it. Work out what to do about it, and then do whatever helps you release the energy and the pain of that emotion out of your body. Now, for some women, they love to release that energy by running it out, or by dancing it out, by boxing it out. Some people like to scream it out, or to slough it off in a refreshing shower, but the key is don't stay in it. And if this message is hitting home for you, and you need a little more help with managing uncomfortable emotions, then send me a message and let's connect to get you the help you need. Because more than anything, it's important you don't stay stuck in those uncomfortable emotions. Much love to you. Bye.